start with the
Okay. இல்ல.
I don't know. Somebody is trying to switch on the mic, but okay, okay, no problems. Well, I hope you have followed the question. I'm again repeating it. The question was simple that if the 5G technology is launched and 5G services are given to you, how many of you feel the same old mobile phones will be utilized for this particular purpose? The answer is you cannot use these phones, right? Because they are not software dependent. These are all hardware defined structures that we are using. And the same old phones will have to be replaced by new 5G phones. So you see, a market of 5G is about to come. Now, if this technology, that is software defined radio that I'm talking about, was there and the phones were based on this SDR, I can guarantee you this, that you need not change the phone. The only thing that you need to do was you need to have an upgrade, and the same old phone would be compatible enough to move to the 5G or shift to the 5G part. So this is what this definition talks about. This definition, again, the green area, the green part that you can see, that this SDR intends to shift from digital radios to multi-band, multi-mode, software-defined radios, where 80% functionality is defined by or given by the software, right? So this particular concept was coined in 1990s, as I have described, by Motorola. The SDR forum then came into picture, that is the Wireless Innovation Forum, which is talking about the control of the SDR and how to use them, how to replace the traditional hardware-based design systems with the software-defined systems, and the IEEE, that is the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, came up with a standard called as P1900.1. They formulated a group which talked about that a radio in which uh, some or all the physical layer functions can be replaced or defined by the software, that particular system will be defined as SDR. So we are talking about an operating range frequency of 2 megahertz to 2 gigahertz, and an SDR can be talked about with different more aspects, where what we have is we have transmitters and receivers being defined through software. We have reconfigurable hardwares which can be changed according to what we want. The wireless networks are also utilized. The features available can be changed through the software part. and the hardware has to be reconfigurable, which helps us out in understanding or in utilizing the newer features, right? So if a reprogrammable software-defined radio or reprogrammable hardware can be made, this corresponds to one of the basic steps of SDR. The software-defined radio basically then talks about integration of the software and the hardware technologies, and we would like to show you this particular diagram where we have an universal hardware and all the different modulation schemes converge to this universal hardware. That is, this universal hardware is compatible with all the technologies, whether it is TDMA, CDMA, FDMA, or other things, right? So historically, we have all talked about the 1991 aspect. 1999, America introduced it for their army purpose, and this was talking about the GSM mobile system or global system for mobile communication, which was governed by these laws called as wireless communication, and they were being challenged by this SDR, and the European and American countries started using them. This basically, this is the chart for the evolution of wireless networks, where we talk about 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, and I could have encircled another area called as 5G now. The software defined radio covers every technology. That means we need not replace the hardwares through this if we are using a software defined radio, right? So software defined radio in the earlier stages was talking about the uh, analog RF to IF stage, analog IF to baseband stage, the ADC and the baseband processors. Then these ADC and baseband processors were still there, but the analog IF to baseband stage was replaced through the software part, right? Now the analog RF to IF stage has to be replaced, where we have RF signal conditioner, and we can replace them with the software, as you all know. The next stage would be that ADC and baseband signal processing might also be replaced through software. And if it is done, the entire hardware that we are seeing will be replaced by reconfigurable hardwares. And only the antenna part will be the limitation of this software defined radios or the software radio technology, right? So the only part is that we will not be able to make the antenna reconfigurable, or we can make antenna reconfigurable, but to a certain extent, but other things can definitely be replaced and maybe made reconfigurable through software, right? So there are 7 stages of these software defined radios. The first stage talks about a smart antenna, where again I was talking about reconfigurable antennas, and then we have RF frequency plan, the ADC, the reconfigurable analog to digital and digital to analog converter, the interfacing of these ADC and DACs with DSP processors, the FPGAs, ASICs, and then designing through either of the languages, right? So these 7 steps are the ones which will help us design a particular software defined radio for a particular application. So here in this particular talk, I'll be showing you how a transceiver can be reconfigured for different modulation technologies, right? And that transceiver has been designed by me using the LabVIEW. So this is the particular diagram of the hardware radio that you have normally seen and we normally study. That is the transmitter end and the receiver end, where we have DAC, pulse shaping, digital modulation, the FEC decoder, and then the input signal. And the receiver end talks about ADC, pulse shaping, demodulator, and then a detection and an FEC decoder. Right. So why we are talking about this? We need to talk about what was the motivation behind SDR. So there are several things. Things like limited bandwidth, the computational complexity requirements, the low flexibility of different devices, the unanimity, cost, the limited functionality of the hardware devices. So these are some of the motivational factors why SDR should be used and is being rapidly utilized nowadays in different aspects. I hope I'm audible and clear to all of you till here. Ma'am, I need some acknowledgement also because this will be just talk.
Sir,
Yeah.
it's clear, sir. Its voice is clear.
Yeah, great, 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 great. So, thank you very much for acknowledging. Thank you very much. So, these are all the motivational factors. That is limited bandwidth, the computational complexity requirements in this. We have low flexibility, and we want to make things flexible enough to suit our applications. The unanimity should also be there. All different services together combining in one single stage. The cost and the limited functionality of different devices led to thinking about what software defined radio can do for us, right? So we have a design ready for you, that is the radio transceiver for different types of handling structure. So the objectives that we tried to cover for this designing was that we wanted to create a highly flexible, reconfigurable, low cost, programmable wireless communication system, right? And this communication system could switch over between different frequencies, could switch over, could adapt to different modulation techniques, and was very secure also in the nature, right? So the signal processing in this particular aspect of transceiver could dynamically be modified and utilized according to the needs. So to implement this kind of a structure, the hardware components had to be defined through software like the encoder, decoder, the modulator, demodulator, the coding techniques, that is the convolution, the Viterbi decodings, right? Everything defined through software. And we were utilizing the DSP techniques available with the current hardware things, and then try to ensure and look into the bit error rate of this SDR system, where the data rate and the BER have to be taken into consideration while we were uh, exchanging the information. The flexibility and reprogrammability was also tried to check using the software updates, and the over to air updates were also available and could be installed in this existing transceiver design. So what we did was we were able to use multiple protocols in this: the Zigbee protocol, the Wi-Fi protocol, that is the 802.15.4 and 11B, and then the similar things were tested on real-time devices that were available in the form of USRP2922, the WIS5 210 test jig, and the XB Pro RF module. Everything was utilized to ensure that the reconfigurability of this module can be utilized. So the features of this particular research were that a reconfigurable design was achieved, an unambiguous connectivity was also achieved, and interoperability that we had just discussed are one of the important aspects of SDRs were achieved in this transceiver. So the transceiver design was conceived in three phases as far as we are concerned. So in this particular aspect, what we did was MFSK, MPSK, and MQAM were the three modulation techniques that were taken into consideration. And this was the flowchart that was followed. Again, it is very simple. The same old communication system was taken into consideration, and we tried to design this through software, right? So pretty simple. This was done in the form of a particular structure which was designed in LabVIEW. So this is one of the software which is helping us out in graphical programming, or it is basically a GUI, that is graphical user interface, and helps us out in understanding how this particular these particular systems behave when they are designed through software, right? So this is the front panel of the design that looks like a particular structure that you have. If I'll move my mouse, I can show you. We have a PN sequence decoder here. We have different message symbols. The encode decode button is here. What kind of modulation we want to use? PSK, FSK, or QAM can be shifted over from this particular structure. The noise can be reduced or decreased or increased. We have symbol rate, and then all the other parameters designed into a software structure. So backend module, I'll be able to show you once I switch on the LabVIEW. I'll be able to show you how these transmissions happen in that particular structure. The point is that this is how it looked like, and once we try to transmit. The reception is shown in this particular figure. This is the BER diagram that you see, and there are different other diagrams that you can see. That is the constellation eye diagram, etc. And for different modulation techniques, the output results were taken into consideration. The point that I want to highlight is this was just the simulation part. This is just the simulation that inside a particular system, we sent the information and we received it using an AWGN channel, right? This is the simulation part. Some more examples are also available in different other fields. The point that I wanted to highlight is that this is just the phase one. Phase one, where modulation techniques were simulated enough so that we could have found out that the system is behaving in which frequency band, the what is the data rate, and what applications can be utilized. The achieved bit error rate should have been a particular mark, and what was the EB by N naught ratio that we could have achieved. This particular chart or table highlights all those factors for the proposed SDR transceiver system that we have been talking about, right? So you can see we have a bandwidth varying from 10 kilohertz to 10 gigahertz. So this is a pretty big range, and most of the devices lie under this particular range itself. We have a data rate of 20 Mbps that was achieved in this. Wide application means all the protocols were covered, and a bit error rate of 10 raised to power minus 5, which is satisfactorily uh, for all the transmission fundamentals can be utilized. So bit error rate of 10 raised to minus 5 was achieved, and also an EB by N naught of around 3.14 or 5. If you take an average, we got an average of 5 dB, right? So this was achieved with all these modulations, that is FSK, PSK, and QAM in the very first stage, right? And if we compare, what you can see is the comparison shows that uh, the FSK behaves it gives a EB by not a larger EB by not than the other modulation techniques, but this can vary between different environments if we see, right? This particular findings motivated us to actually move to the next stage, that is using the same design for Wi-Fi protocol and with real-time transfer of data. Now the data had to be transferred from one system to the other system, right? So I'll show you the diagram. This is the front panel that was redesigned for these real-time transfers, because hardware had to be used and was ensured that this hardware is reconfigurable. So once this hardware is connected, you can see on which COM port this is connected over here. The baud rate, the timeout, return counts, the data bits, and the parity and stop bits were represented. The file type or the modulation type is also represented in this, right? So you can see the file type, demodulation, and output parameters, right? I'll show you about this. This is the table representing the transmitter and receiver structures, that is the input values of the hardware that we have been utilizing. It was connected using the IP address, whatever IP you want to give, you can change this also, but this is by default in this case. And different types of filters were also involved in this, but they all were software defined, right? So this is the hardware. As you can see, this hardware has a particular FPGA embedded onto this, which can be reprogrammed. We have connected this to a system. We program this. Once you program this hardware device, because this is having the Wi-Fi capability using 802.11b protocol, can be connected with other devices also. And the information that we wanted to send was transmitted using this particular device, right? And these are the outputs received, the constellation plots and the eye diagrams received for different types of uh, data transmitted using different modulation schemes. So you can see we have transmitted using 4 PSK, 8 PSK, 4 QAM, 8 QAM, and you can see the constellation diagram. This is for the received signal, right? So the received signal outputs were again measured in the form of BER, and the Wi-Fi protocol was thus verified. Now, because this was real-time transfer, so what I wanted to highlight in this particular aspect was, you can see in simulation part, it was from 10 kilohertz to 10 gigahertz. Now the range has reduced, but still we are able to achieve it to 10 kilohertz to 2.4 gigahertz. Can you see this, right? So 2.4 gigahertz still is a very good range, which can cover maximum type of communication still till date right now. The data rate achieved was also fine. It was 11 Mbps, so it is a good data rate that we can talk about. Again, the applications we tried to find out, and a wide number of applications could be used in this. 10 raised to power minus 5 is the bit error rate that was again kept because we wanted to ensure that 10 raised to power minus 5 is the minimum bit error rate that should be there while we are transmitting or receiving the things, right? Then the EV by N not achieved was this, right? So what we did was we used different types of modulation techniques in this, and we utilized the coding techniques also. That is the convolution coding and the turbo decoding, the turbo coding and decoding. Our data was safe and secure because of these coding techniques. The coding allowed us to send the information in a particular packet format, which was very difficult and almost impossible to decode by any intruders. So this real-time transfer helped us understand that SDRs practically can be taken into consideration, and they can be utilized for a large amount of safe and secure services, right? Though this system is pretty complex because this was initial stages of testing of SDR. We had utilized, as you can see, an existing hardware. I'm going back to the slide. Existing hardware is available in the market. We utilize this. But if we try and develop an FPGA of our own, this could help us develop different other applications for us, right? So this was all about. So this is the lab picture that we had taken for transmission and reception. The experimental setup that was used for the transmission and reception of Wi-Fi using the Wi-Fi technique, that is 802.11b protocol, and you can see the difference in uh, the the eye diagram. You can see the difference in the constellation diagram also, because some errors were introduced during the transmission, because this is totally wireless, but this is in real time aspects, right? So this is one of the pictures that I took while I was designing, while we were computing the functionality of this transceiver that was proposed. In the second stage, I'll quickly move forward. I don't know how much time is left, but the next part was utilizing the same design for another type of transfer, that is the Zigbee. Now, Zigbee protocol, as you can all see, most of the applications, the home applications, are utilizing this Zigbee structure. So, if Zigbee protocol can be made or can be utilized through SDR, it would enhance the functionality to a large extent, because most of the home applications, home devices are utilizing this particular protocol. And for this, what we utilized was an XB Pro RF module. So what I'll do is I'll show you this. So you can see these two probes over here. One is this, another one is this. Again, these two hardwares have to be connected, but these are reprogrammable. So because of their reprogrammability, we were able to utilize the features of Zigbee protocol, that is 802.15, right? And what was achieved was, can be highlighted through this, because Zigbee protocol is of utmost importance for home devices. So you can see the change again. Data rate has reduced to 1 Mbps. We don't require much data rate for this, but the bandwidth has still remained the same. The BER also is same, and the achieved EB by N naught is highly comparable to the simulated results. Right. So this led to another conclusion, that the system that we have been talking about works with different multiple protocols as per the definition in the early stages. It works with different coding techniques. It works with different modulation schemes, and thus is very reconfigurable and highly reliable in different types of conditions. So you can see the output values that are depicted via these figures. We have achieved almost a similar kind of a matching kind of an output as achieved in the simulated results, right? So we were then shifted towards standard hardware. Now this is very important. This is the standard hardware that is being utilized in the world over, the USRP, right? Universal Synchronous Receiver Transceiver. Basically, the module which is being utilized world over for the SDR applications. The USRP device is being circulated by the ETIS laboratories. You can search for that, ETIS Labs. Now being distributed by National Instruments also, right? So LabVIEW is one of their products. USRP is another one of their products, and they have also developed another product called as MyReu now. But I haven't utilized it, but we have utilized the features of USRP 2922. Now the same interface was developed for them. If you can see this, we have three types of, we tested three types of data transmission. One was the random data, another one was the text, another one was the image. So once you text something, or you want to send an image, or you want to send some one zeros, the message in the form of one zeros, you can do all of these, right? The encode decode again specified whether you want to send the information by using the encoding or decoding, that is the convolution or the turbo. It highlights here. You press this button, it changes to convolution. You press this, it changes to turbo. So you can see this particular window. This is basically the interface that is available to the user. Very much user friendly, utilizing all the GUI applications that were there, and can be easily handled by any person who knows how to use a particular mobile phone. So this was another challenge which we overcame with this particular thing, that how these particular GUI interface can be developed using the features, and it should be easier for everybody to utilize. It should not be that only scientists can use this, right? So this was the interface. Now this is how we used to type the text. So you can see we have typed it. These are just the screenshots, and once you type it, you see what type of modulation has been used. So this is the modulation graph coming in front. If it is encoded, the same technique is encoded, that is convolution and Viterbi. Viterbi is the decoder, and convolution is the coding technique that has been utilized as far as this transfer is concerned, right? Now, if you see, the output section shows you something like this. This particular part is the received signal. This is the QAM modulation, demodulation. This is the decoding part that has been done. This is the I diagram and the BER diagram. So this is for different types of modulation, that is the PSK, FSK, and QAM. All were utilized. Now nothing has to be done. The only part is that you need to configure this once, and then automatically the the transceiver configures itself for rest of the transfers. So this is one of the most important things that were achieved as far as this system is concerned. So you can see different diagrams coming in front of you, where the message signal type is also shown. We have a constellation diagram coming in front. We have an I diagram, and the BER curves represent and highlight this kind of a structure, where we have turbo decoding, convolution coding for all the modulation schemes. And you see the bandwidth has now increased because this is the standard hardware that was being utilized, and it could support transfers up to 4.4 gigahertz. This is you can see this is a high frequency that you can achieve in this case, right? So 4.4 gigahertz is the bandwidth. Now it starts with the 10 kilohertz also, right? Data in Mbps is pretty high as far as you this type of transfer is concerned, is 256 Mbps. You can see that, right? And the application, again, very wide application. You can utilize numerous applications using the USRP module. The PR is for 10 is to power minus 5, that was kept same for all the type of transfers so that they can be compared. And then the EV by N naught achieved was pretty significant. This particular hardware structure, because this the standard one, produced the best EV by N naught ratio. Again, we are fortunate enough that we were able to reduce the EV by N naught with our design, and then make the system more reliable in this case. And then all the different modulation schemes were tested, because this hardware could have supported all these schemes, right? So this is another laboratory picture that you can see. We have two USRP modules connected over here. This is the first one and this is the second one. The transmitter and the receiver. Both can act as either transmitter or receiver. So this is another hardware aspect, reconfigurability aspect of this USRP. Either of the devices can act as transmitter or receiver in this case. So this is the experimental setup. You can connect it through LAN or you can connect it through Wi-Fi. So both the things are supported as far as this USRP is concerned. The best part is you can connect it through LAN, and then the different type of antennas can be used to check the output values. But this setup, this particular experiment helped us understand that SDR can practically be utilized in different other schemes and different other applications, right? So this is one of the uh, experiments that we were able to utilize and design and prove our SDR transceiver working in a particular fashion. Can you see this now? This is one of the very interesting screenshots taken for the text. This was the text that we transmitted. The software defined radio is a radio where you can write anything. This was decoded into this particular fashion. So this is very difficult to decode by any of the intruders, right? So you can use them. Until unless I have a key available, this encoded text cannot be decoded. So this feature is inbuilt in our design. Similar case is with the image. Can you see this image? This is a pretty small image that we have used, but this image is transmitted as an encoded image like this, right? So all these things are were utilized in different types of coding and encoding schemes, and it was a pretty big experimentation that we did, and you try to utilize the features of the SDR. Whatever we had kept as the objectives, almost all the objectives were covered in this, and we were able to practically design a real-time system which was utilized, which utilized the real-time transmission of the data, right? And because this was the standard hardware that we utilized, so this was the last part of the experimentation that we did, and the USRP module helped us understand how it is better than other modules. So this is the conclusion drawn with all the hardwares that are present and that we utilize. That is the WISP-PHY 210, the XB Pro, and the USRP. These are the two that we utilize, right? This WISP-PHY 210, the XB Pro, and the USRP 2922, right? So comparison showed that our transceiver that we had designed, keeping into mind the different types of modulation schemes, keeping into mind the different types of coding schemes and other aspects of reconfigurability, our transceiver design was able to successfully pass all the tests, and that is how able to ensure that system was so as this thing was SDRs are practically possible. And now another new term has been given, that is the software defined networks. Now we have moved from radios to networks. So the complete network would be defined by software now. So this experiment showed that we could have defined, we could have formulated a particular radio or in this particular aspect, but now a complete network can also be software controlled and defined through software. Controlling has long been done, but was never defined by software. But these software-defined networks are also into existence, and then can be effectively utilized. So these were this is a chart depicting different type of comparison of the coding schemes. The conclusions are very very effective that we were able to design a reconfigurable and a flexible multi-mode, multi-modulating SDR transceiver with different encoder and decoder features, the modulator and demodulator features defined through software entirely. And we were able to successfully test it using different modulation schemes, that is the FSK, PSK, and the QAM, ranging from 4 to 256, right? 4 FSK to 256 FSK, or 4 PSK to 256 PSK, and using different protocol standards, that is 802.11 B and 802.1514, point 4, sorry, right? Similarly, these were tested in real time using the USRP and the uh, WIS 5210 or the XB Pro RF module. So the baud rate, packet size, etc., were taken into consideration, and this particular transceiver was able to provide us the best possible baud rate, the best possible uh, filter length in this case, right? So all these things were taken into consideration, and the BER output achieved was pretty good. BB by not was very satisfactory. This was all about the transceiver design that was there, right? Now, these are some of the references that we had used while we were searching the literature. So, a lot many, right? Because we had done a very comprehensive study for this, because the project was a bigger one that we had to design working software defined radio, and that is why were we were to ensure that all the literature had to be taken into consideration while we were searching everything, right? So these are some of the references. The slides are over as far as I'm concerned. Now what I'll do is I'll show you a practical SDR system. So I'll have to move over to that. I didn't interrupt in between. So I hope you were able to hear me and follow something. I don't know. You need to reply back if somebody is available.
Yes, sir, it's audible, sir. It's a good session.
All right. So what I'll do is I'll show you a practical SDR system. I need to stop the presentation right now and I'll restart it again. Right. Because that particular system is based on the LabVIEW structure only. You need to give me a minute and I'll show you how practically this can be done. So I'm finding some problem in starting this particular thing. I don't know what. Right. So it will take just a few minutes to just start because LabVIEW takes some time to load on this. I hope you are able to see the screen. In the meantime, if there are
Yes,
any
sir.
questions,
Yes, sir.
if there are any questions, I would request the participants they can ask the questions if there are. Madam, are we open to the question session? In the meantime, I'll just start it. It will take some time. I should have done it earlier.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Sir?
Your presentation was very good. I have a small query. Is it possible to use RTL SDR for the same application? What are the limitations in
I'm
RTL
unable to
SDR?
hear. I'm unable to hear clearly.
My name is Lenin.
Okay, sir.
Sir, uh, my doubt is it possible to use RTL SDR instead of use RPKit because it is a costlier one? I could be able to
Sir, just a
see
second.
that.
I'll put on the headphones and then you can I would request you kindly ask it again, sir.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, please, sir. Please go ahead now.
Yeah, sir. Is it possible to use RTL SDR? You have integrated with the LabVIEW simulation software. RTL SDR comes with the MATLAB and Simulink support.
Oh, sir. Yes, sir. MATLAB part is also there, and it is possible. It is definitely very much possible for that.
We can like you can change the Simulink box also over there once if it is received. So RTL SDR also will be using for the same reception transceiver purpose.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
It is still loading. It will take some time to load. In the meantime, again, we are welcome with the questions.
Pass your contact details. If there is any query, we will communicate with you.
I think it will be better you can type this out because there is some problem in hearing. Right, so I am able to show you the front panel screen that I just showed you. Still, it is loading the thing. Right now, I'm not having the hardware, so it is not possible for me to show you the hardware or real-time data transfer, but we have already tested this. This is the software simulation part, and if you see, again, we have FSK, PSK, and QAM, right? So what I'll do is I'll show you quickly how this works, and I can change this to any of the QAM bits that I want. I can even I hope you are able to see this, right? I can even change the symbol rate or the PN sequence order, or I can utilize this feature of encode and decode, right? So now this is the run button that we use, and now you see the eye diagram in front of you, or the different type of outputs are there. This is the eye diagram for 4-bit transmission. So what I'll do is I'll strictly start from this. These are the transmitted symbols. It is 1, 3, 2, 4, 3, 1. These are just random symbols that are being transmitted. These show the transmitted bits of those symbols. The eye diagram at the receiver end, the constellation diagram at the transmitter end is this. The BER, yeah, it will just come. Yes, it is there. And then we have the received bit 132313. These are the received data part. Then we have the constellation at the receiver. See, the dots are they've just grown, right? And we can also have an output called as EVM, right? So this is the EVM output. Now what I'll do is I'll just show you how the change happens. I'll change from 4 to 8, right? You see the change in the I. You see the change in the constellation plot also. Just you can see the 8 dots now coming there. Similarly, I change it to 16, so you'll see the 16 part. You'll see the 32-bit, and so on. So this is that simple. Now, moving inside, we are changing the modulation technique. We are able to change the modulation type. Similar case, we can do it in real time also. So this was our aim, and we were able to achieve this, right? So the symbols are constantly changing, as you see, and the received symbols change accordingly. Just change it to 64. Similarly, I can change from QAM to PSK also. So I've changed, I've moved on to PSK now. So you can see the change happening, right? I have introduced the encoding decoding also now. And similarly, I can use, I can change to FSK also. You see this now, right? So this is all in runtime mode. I haven't switched on or off like in MATLAB because this is graphical programming. So I'm able to utilize those features, and I can change out to any of the blocks. So this was the one that I was talking about and trying to explain to you. I hope that you are now able to understand what I was trying to tell you through all those slides. Yes, are we able to understand this now? Anyone who can answer this so that I am able to.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that's it from my side. I am done with all the talk that I had to do. If you've still any questions,